Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be sacked within 48 hours. He said his goodbyes to his staff and players following the defeat to Watford. It recently said Manchester United called an emergency board meeting to discuss Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's dismissal. Manchester United will have to pay Solskjaer £7.5 million because in the summer he signed a new 3-year contract with an option of a further year. Now Zinedine Zidane is being lined up to replace Solskjaer. Reports said earlier on this week that Zidane turned down the Manchester United job. And he's pretty much agreed to take over the France job. And it said not so long ago that Zidane is not available until the summer because the Man United board held talks with Zinedine Zidane, and Zidane let the board know that he doesn't feel ready for the Premier League at the moment and prefers to take a break until the summer. But not so long ago it said that Zidane was interested in the Man United job, but Zidane's wife wasn't attracted to the idea of living in Manchester. But Zidane's close relationships with Ronaldo and Varane could persuade him to join. Zidane is managerless because he left Real Madrid in the summer. You've got to admire what he did at Real Madrid. He won a lot of trophies at Real Madrid. So reflecting on that, he's got a good pedigree behind him. Hasn't managed in the Premier League yet, so it would be good for him to come and experience the Premier League. But I reckon Zidane would be the man for Manchester United. I think he'd get the best out of these group of players. He'd get us back to that level where we should be at. He'd suit the strappings of the club and he would be capable of winning trophies. Brendan Rodgers has also been spoken a lot about. But prior to the game today against Watford, Sky Sports and ESPN and that said that Brendan Rodgers distances himself from the Man United job. And he said reports linking him with the Man United job were not true. And he's proud to be at Leicester. But earlier on this week, it said Brendan Rodgers is ready to say yes to Man United if he's offered the job. Not so long ago, Rodgers was house hunting in Cheshire. The Manchester Evening News said the other week that Man United are ready to trigger Brendan Rodgers' contract clause if Solskjaer gets sacked. And it said earlier on this season that Brendan Rodgers had already verbally agreed to become Man United's new manager. But his preference would be to wait until next season, as it said he's reluctant to leave Leicester midway through the season. You've got to admire what Rodgers has done at Leicester. You know, he's won the Community Shield and FA Cup with them. And he's been in charge of Leicester for 3 years almost, and he's got a contract with them till 2025. But Leicester have been very poor this season, so reflecting on that is some pressure on Rodgers. You know, should Rodgers replace Solskjaer? I'm not too sure, but one thing I can say is a far superior manager to Solskjaer. And Pochettino and Eric Ten Hag have also been spoken about. But revert back to Solskjaer. You know, he was in charge of the club for almost 3 years. And the reason he lasted as long as he did is because he was a legend of the club. You know, disregarding him being a legend of the club, I think he would have gone a long time ago. You know, despite Solskjaer getting sacked, you know, we all adore him. You know, reflecting on what he's done for the club at the end of the day, he's a club legend. He endured 11 years as a player for Man United. He flourished under Ferguson's guidance. And he had a proven pedigree when he was a player, but unfortunately, he has no proven pedigree as a manager. The clubs he's managed in his managerial career, obviously he managed the Man United reserve team for a couple of years, watched some of the team grow and develop, then obviously managed Cardiff. His record at Cardiff was terrible. The reason Cardiff sacked him is because he got them relegated. He managed Molde. He had 2 spells at Molde. He won a few Norwegian titles with them. But obviously they're not a big club. And obviously he managed Manchester United's senior team. And you know, this season was Solskjaer's 3rd full season as Man United manager. But like I said to you, I said Solskjaer was not capable of winning trophies as Man United manager. You know, didn't win a trophy as Man United manager. We haven't won a trophy since 2017. You know, the expectations were far too high for Solskjaer to exceed as Man United manager, and he was in a position that he shouldn't have been in. And Ollie ran out of excuses a long time ago, didn't he? Because Man United enjoyed a very good summer transfer window this year. You know, made 4 signings. 3 of the 4 signings were major signings, and we spent around 141 million. You know, Solskjaer received very good backing from the board as well. You know, obviously the Glazers backed him, Ed Woodward backed him, John Murtaugh, our director of football, backed him, and Darren Fletcher backed him. And Man United have got a very good squad. But the reason we're not getting the best out of a lot of the players is because we're a team of individuals. You know, we don't actually play as a team. Man United should be winning the league this season because we have got a title winning squad. Man United have not won the Premier League since 2013. That's 8 years or so ago now. But Ollie knew when he'd taken over at Man United it was going to be a massive job and a difficult job as well, you know, because Ollie was managing one of the biggest clubs in the world. You know, Solskjaer did get appointed in December 2018, and the club decided to give him the job on a permanent basis back in March 2019, reflecting how well he did as the interim manager. Manchester United spent over £400 million under the Solskjaer era. You know, like I said, he brought 14 players in. You know, in the summer of 2019, he recommended Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire in. In January 2020, he brought Bruno Fernandes in and Odi Ighalo in on loan. In the summer of 2020, he brought Edison Cavani in, Donny van der Beek, Alex Telles, Amad Diallo and Facundo Pellistri. And in this year's summer transfer window, he brought Heaton in, Sancho, Varane and re-signed Ronaldo after 12 years. In Solskjaer's 1st full season as Man United manager, he got us to 3 semi-finals and he got us a 3rd place finish. In his 2nd full season, he got us to the EFL Cup semi-final, the FA Cup quarter-final, the Europa League final as well. That was his 1st major final as Man United manager, and in his 2nd full season as well, he got us a 2nd place finish. So some progress was made under him. Don't forget as well, at one point Man United went 29 games unbeaten away from home in the Premier League. It was Leicester that ended our unbeaten away run in the Premier League. And I think when Solskjaer was Man United manager, he developed the youth well. But when Solskjaer is officially sacked, he will be the 4th permanent manager to be sacked since Ferguson, because Man United have already sacked 3 managers since Ferguson sacked David Moyes after 10 months. We finished 7th under the Moyes era. One of the worst managers we've ever had. You know, we sacked Van Gaal after like 2 years or so, won the FA Cup under him, and we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years. Mourinho did enjoy one good season at Man United because he won 3 trophies in his first season, but the reasons it didn't work out under Mourinho is because he had bad disputes with the board. The board didn't get the players he wanted to recommend in, and he had bad disputes with the top players. But Manchester United have been playing catch-up in the last 8 years. We haven't been the same team since Ferguson retired, and a lot of United fans predicted it was all going to go wrong when he retired, which obviously it has done. Solskjaer, I thought, should have resigned, but obviously earlier on this week he refused to quit Man United despite senior stars losing faith in his tactics. But you know what? Manchester United have got some very, very good players. We've got the best player in the world overall in Cristiano Ronaldo. He obviously got the assist today for Donny van der Beek's goal, and Ronaldo's obviously infuriated of what's been going on at Man United, and he even mocks Solskjaer's tactics in the 5-0 defeat to Liverpool. And Man United have relied on Ronaldo far too much. Ronaldo has scored 9 goals in all competitions so far since he re-signed. And he's got 2 assists so far since he re-signed. Not so long ago, Ronaldo got named Player of the Month for October, so he's got back-to-back awards because back in September he got named Premier League Player of the Month. But he is the best player in the world overall, like I've mentioned, because he has won 32 major trophies in his playing career, including 5 Ballon d'Ors. Ronaldo has got a contract with Man United till 2023. There's an option of a further year. Ronaldo receives £480,000 a week, so he's the highest earner at Man United. He wears a number 7 shirt, and we got him for 19.8 million with add-ons included. And you've also got Mason Greenwood. That's a talented player as well. Greenwood's still young. He's got a lot of development in him. He's got a long-term future at Man United. Greenwood has scored 4 goals in the league so far this season. Greenwood played no part today in the humiliation to Watford because he's out with COVID. At one point, Greenwood did go a while without scoring, but despite that, he's been a revelation since he broke into our senior squad. He made his senior debut for Man United back in 2019. He's been a United player since the age of 7, and last season, Greenwood signed a new 4-year contract. And you've also got Jadon Sancho. That's a good player overall. Sancho has been poor though, I think, so far for Man United. But he actually played today against Watford, and he was in the correct position for once. Solskjaer's been to blame for Sancho's poor performances because a lot of the time when Solskjaer decides to play him, he plays him out of position. There again though, there's quite a few games that Sancho doesn't even play in. And I said Sancho will do well at Man United providing that he's used correctly. Does take some players time to settle in. We got Sancho in a deal worth 78 million with add-ons included, and he's got a contract with the club until June 2026 as an option of a further year. Marcus Rashford, he's also good as well. Rashford, yes, played today against Watford. He actually had a good chance in the game, produced a good save from Ben Foster. Don't forget, at one point, Rashford was out with a shoulder injury for a while, and at one point he had to have an operation on his shoulder. Most of the time now, Rashford plays on that left wing. Well, we need to keep him on the left wing because that's where he's mostly effective. Far superior on the left wing to the right wing and up top. Rashford has been part of the club for a long time. He's been a United player since the age of 7. and he's been in our senior squad since 2016. So he's been in our senior squad now for a good 5.5 years. Rashford's got a contract with Man United till 2023. And you've got Bruno Fernandes, that's a very good player as well. But despite him being a good player overall, he's had some bad games at Man United. I don't think he was brilliant today against Watford. I think he was the one that played the horrendous pass that led to the penalty for Watford. And Fernandes was very poor in the 2-0 defeat to Man City. But he's been consistent in a lot of games for Man United. Fernandes has been a Manchester United player for almost 2 years. We got him from Sporting Lisbon back in January 2020. Was it last season he got named Player of the Month a few times, and he got named Player of the Year. Earlier on this season, Fernandes did make it clear that he wants to stay at Man United. When he first came to Manchester, he said, I've come to Manchester to win trophies. He's got a contract with the club until 2025. There's an option of a further year. You've got Cavani, that's another good player. But unfortunately, I think he's leaving Man United next year. Cavani's not available at the moment anyway because he's out with injury until December. He was out earlier on this season with injury. He's got under a year left on his Man United contract. It was back in May Cavani signed that 1-year contract extension. This season is Cavani's second full season at Man United. Man United got Cavani on a free transfer. Cavani's got a good pedigree behind him though. Look at the amount of silverware he won when he was at PSG. And not only that, he was a long-serving player when he was at PSG. You've got Donny van der Beek, that's also a good player as well, but he doesn't get enough game time. So reflecting on that, he's leaving in January. Van der Beek's confirmed that he's leaving in January. Van der Beek came on today against Watford and scored. Van der Beek was very good when he came on. He was trying to make things happen and that. Van der Beek's endured a difficult year and a half or so now at Man United. This season is his second full season at the club. We got Van der Beek in a deal worth 40 million with add-ons included. He's got a contract with Man United till 2025. There's an option of a further year, and he's versatile. He can play in 3 different roles. And you've also got Pogba. That's a good player as well. Not only a good player, he's an imperative player. Obviously, Pogba played no part today against Watford because he was suspended. Plus, he wouldn't have been able to play anyway, Pogba, because he's out with injury. He's going to be missing the rest of 2021 because the other week, Pogba suffered a thigh injury in France training. So, reflecting on that, Pogba may never play for the club again. Because not so long ago it said Man United are prepared to sell Paul Pogba in the January transfer window. Well, it makes sense to cash in for him in January rather than let him go on a free next summer. But reports from France said the other week that Pogba wants to renew his contract with Man United. But reportedly on one condition, that he's made the Premier League's highest paid player. At the moment, Pogba receives around 290 grand a week. His current contract at Man United expires next summer. Before the start of this season, he rejected a new Man United contract offer. But Pogba enjoyed a very good start to the Premier League season. He's got 7 assists at the moment. He produced good performances for Man United in the last couple of months of last season. But at one point last season, he was out with a thigh injury for a while. He's had a long-running transfer saga. He's been relentlessly linked with Real Madrid. His former club Juventus have been in for him. He endured 4 good years with Juventus before he rejoined up Man United. PSG have been linked with him, Barcelona have been in for him before, and so too have Inter Milan. Pogba's agent, Mino Raiola, though, has been working hard now for quite some time to get his client to move away from the club. At the moment, Pogba's our most expensive signing because we paid 89 million for him, and this season is Pogba's 6th season at the club since he rejoined, and he's won 3 trophies at the club so far. We had him when he was a lot younger under the Ferguson era, but had to let him go due to limited appearances. And yeah, and you've got Wan-Bissaka, that's a good right back. The defensive side of his game, superb, but the attacking side of his game, very poor. These aspects of his game that I've got to improve, but despite that, I still think he's one of the best right backs we've had since Gary Neville. We got Bissaka for 50 million from Crystal Palace back in the summer of 2019. This season is his 3rd full season at Man United. And you've also got Varane, that's a very good centre-half. But Varane is not available at the moment. He's out with a hamstring injury. I think he's out for 2 to 3 weeks. That's the second injury he's endured as a United player, because not so long ago he was out with a groin injury, and he was out with that groin injury for a few weeks. He initially made his return in the 3-0 win against Tottenham. But I think Varane has done well in quite a few games for Man United. He's had a couple of games where he's looked poor. You know, we got Varane in a deal worth, 41 million with add-ons included. He's got a contract with Man United till 2025. There's an option of a further year. You know, Varane to Man United was official just before kick-off against Leeds, which was the opening day. Varane's regarded as one of the best centre-halves in the world. He's highly experienced, and not only that, he's got a good pedigree behind him. Look at the amount of silverware he won when he was at PSG. And Eric Bailly, you know, he's another good centre-half Man United have got. But Bailly doesn't get regular game time. Bailly lost his place in the team a while ago, obviously with the signing of Varane in the summer transfer window, and obviously Lindelof's preferred to Eric Bailly. Don't ask me why, because Bailly's a far superior far superior centre-half to Lindelof. Bailly's only made 3 appearances so far this season. My concern about Bailly is injury prone, so in that aspect he's a liability. Towards the end of last season, Bailly signed a new contract with Man United till 2024. There's an option of a further year. He's been at the club for 5.5 years now. Got him from Villarreal back in 2016 for 30 million. Harry Maguire, good when he wants to be, but hasn't proven how good he can be as a Manchester United player. And I think Maguire's been very poor this season. He's been even worse since he came back from that calf injury. Maguire was very poor today against Watford, obviously got sent off in the game, didn't he? Man United certainly overpaid for Maguire, got him for 80 million, so he's the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment and the second most expensive signing at the club. And you know, you've got Luke Shaw, overall good left back, but Luke Shaw's certainly not proven how good he can be this season. Luke Shaw's been terrible this season, and he was poor today against Watford. I think one of Watford's goals came from his left-hand side. Where's the Luke Shaw from last season? Because last season Luke Shaw was absolutely superb. He was far superior last season to how he has been so far this season. You know, Shaw's been at Manchester United for like 7.5 years now, so he's been a long-serving player. And I reckon he's had a decent career at the club despite the injuries he's had and that, and he's been our first choice left back for a while. Shaw's got under 2 years left on his Man United contract. And obviously you've got David De Gea, that's a very, very good goalkeeper. You know, De Gea's done really, really well so far this season, to his credit. You know, today, did well. You know, he saved 2 penalties and he made some other good saves as well. I think one of the goals by Watford, though, he were beaten at his near post. You know, if it weren't for De Gea, I think Man United would be in a much, much worse position than they're in. De Gea also did well against Man City before the international break. I recall him making 4 fantastic saves in that first half. There again, he was partly to blame for Bernardo Silva's goal. Don't forget De Gea reclaimed the number 1 spot back, because in the summer he decided to cut short his holiday by 2 weeks to fight for the starting place. It said he was determined to fight for his Man United future. De Gea's got under 2 years left on his contract and he receives 375 grand a week, and this season is his 11th season at Man United, so he's been a very long-serving goalkeeper. And Henderson's good as well, but obviously he doesn't get in there now because, like I mentioned, De Gea reclaimed that number 1 spot back. I think Henderson's going out on loan next year. Well, he's mentioned that he wants to go out on loan. You know, you've got inconsistent players at Man United. You know, you've got Fred and McTominay, not good enough to represent the club. They do play a hell of a lot of games together, and Solskjaer's being criticised for persistently selecting Fred and McTominay in the centre midfield. Surprisingly today, though, it wasn't Fred and McTominay, it was Matic and McTominay instead. You know, you've got Matic not good enough to represent the club. You know, you've got Jones not good enough to represent the club, but Jones doesn't get in there anyway. Lindelof not good enough to represent the club. Martial not good enough to represent the club. Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire not good enough at the moment, but I still think they'll stay despite their abysmal performances this season. Jesse Lingard not good enough, but Lingard doesn't really get in the team anyway, does he? Lingard came on today, but I actually thought he would have started. Prior to the game, Solskjaer did say that Lingard remains part of his plans. That's what he said. Not so long ago, it said Lingard's Man United future is in doubt after talks over a new contract collapsed. His current contract at Man United expires next summer. Not so long ago, it said Lingard could leave Man United for just 10 million. Just 10 million. West Ham, I'm hearing, want to re-sign Lingard. You know, last season, Lingard enjoyed a 4-month loan spell with West Ham and he made an impact. And I'm hearing that Lingard also wants to go abroad. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. And when he's officially sacked, I will be straight on here.